everyone, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Dev Digest. I am Sarah Flanagan, your host for the morning. I am your community manager for H1Z1, both PC and PS4, and I go by the handle Lieutenant Toast if you ever see me on Reddit or in game or anywhere else. So that's how you can find me. And I will let these two gentlemen also introduce themselves before we get into all of our Dev Digest stuff for today.
My name is Justin Golenbach. I'm the Associate PR Manager here at Daybreak Games on H1 and other games.
All right. It's someone is saying that our mic audio is too low. So in the meantime, since I can't quite reach the soundboard for here, let's push our mics really close to our face.
Really
people.
close to our face.
We're going to get really close to our face.
Really close to our face.
Actually, how about you two introduce yourselves while I run over to the soundboard right quick?
Well, I'm still Justin, Daybreak Games Associate PR Manager here, joined with another very special guest.
Thank you.
Hold on. Let me see. Chat, is this better now, or should I go to the soundboard? Let me know. Oh, Sherwin's got us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect.
Mike Madden, Senior Game Designer here at Daybreak on H1.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Flawless.
Flawless. We're starting off flawless. Sorry, pardon my chair. All right, so let's get to our topics for today. You can see them here at the bottom of the screen right now. We will be starting with some PC topics and news. We're going to be talking about Season 2, upcoming scoring and meta changes, player cap, spawn select, all that goodness, talking about and showing off the new ranch rifle, as well as the revive. Ooh, pardon me. I keep saying louder in the chat. Louder, louder. Hopefully they can hear us by now. And then revive as well, and what that looks like and means for PC. And then we are going to switch on over to PS4 updates. We're going to talk a bit about that wrangling the car rodeo we discussed earlier. Those vehicle updates in terms of their fuel and the damage they take, and the new lighting schemes that are coming to PS4 as well. So let's take it away, Mike. Let's talk about Season 2. Tell me about some of our plans for scoring for Season 2.
All right. Obviously, a lot of the feedback we received from Season 1 was it was a detriment to continue to grind once you kind of achieved a really good ranking because of the way that the placement was going for consistency over a long period, that it was averaging against that, and it would hurt you. So it really was not a benefit to continue playing for long sessions or even goofing around. It was serious all the time, and that was all you could do. So we want to alleviate a lot of that, and we're going to be flattening out the placement and putting the emphasis back on the kills.
All right, I'm going to pause for just a moment here because people are saying in the chat that they still can't hear us very well, so I'm going to see if we can crank it up a little bit louder. It's already very loud in our ears as well, so I want to make sure we're not deafening ourselves too. Let me know. How about now? Mic low. I don't know. It's still kind of low. Very low.
Better?
Better? Not very? Not better?
It's fine.
Okay.
What song do you want us to sing to test the volume?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, we can sing.
Yeah.
We can scream. We'll scream the entire update. Okay.
If we're
Fine.
singing,
Better.
Better.
People saying better.
Better.
Good.
It's the same.
Same. Better.
It's fine. Okay. We'll let you continue.
Let's rock on.
right on.
Yes.
So we're dumbing down or neutralizing the consistency element. We're taking placement and flattening that out so it's more like what was experienced by every player during the preseasons that existed.
Yep.
And given a tick up on the kill. And part of that is also to counter out, as we've talked about with the way that we're setting up the modes, a little bit reduced player count for faster games and a good flow on the map of Z1. So it will notch that up so that scores are relevant. Even though you may not be dropping a 30 bomb, the scores will be in line with that, with the reduced numbers. So it all kind of coexists and is balanced out for that. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be much better and allow players to kind of really chase great games, but not be penalized by one that didn't pan out their way.
And chase fun games, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, just want to go out there and you know, go ape. And
You're like, this one
That's
doesn't
right.
matter. I'm in it for a fun match, and I don't want it to necessarily reflect poorly on my score, but this time I really want to go for as many kills as I possibly can.
Yeah, and try different strategies and tactics. I mean, that's one thing I think we did see, or I really enjoyed in watching the Pro League, was week to week the evolution of tactics teams were taking against each other. And we want to make sure that players don't feel penalized to stretch outside of what they know they can perform and start trying some new things and see if that doesn't have different qualities that they can adapt
So you
into
don't
their
have
play.
to necessarily lock into a particular
That's correct.
strategy. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You can.
Makes a lot of sense.
You should have the ability and freedom to experiment a little bit more on how you're trying to achieve victory, and so that's why the placement and the consistency is being brought.
We are working to crank up that audio a little bit more for you guys now. I got a message from one Mr. Cardo upstairs to let us know that we're still on the quiet side, so thank you for that. We're trying to work on bringing that audio level up. But if we cannot get it figured out this morning, we may need to pause and come back with this because we do want to make sure you guys can hear us okay during the stream because this is all very important information.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's kind of where we're at with scoring. We're going to be running against a bunch of simulations internally, make sure that we're hitting the marks we want and adjusting the levels for the different ranks for achievement, and then hopefully getting that out soon.
All right.
So yeah.
Great.
Very cool.
Yeah, should be good. Should be good.
All right. Apparently, chat says it's fine now. I don't know.
Magic.
I
I'm not
don't
sure.
know. I don't know. They're half and half between it's okay and it's not. So, sorry. I just kicked my things over at you. My bad. Leave it down there. Don't worry about it.
Breaking stuff.
Don't worry about it. It's all good. Okay, so
That was loud.
that was about scoring. Do we want to talk a bit about balancing the new remastered Z1 map, the Outbreak map?
Yeah.
Before we come to season 2, in terms of layout of loot across the map, spawn distribution, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, there was some very obvious, I think I mentioned it last time, was the helmet and t-shirt shop that existed in PV, and there's other instances of occasions like that where loot distribution isn't behaving as we initially intended it to, so we obviously need to go through and do a full pass on all those things to make sure that before we put it out for competitive play in the season, that there are those at least very obvious scenarios that we've identified can be fixed. Another part of that is making sure that there's enough vehicles. Z1 is a smaller map. There are less POIs, and so there's fewer opportunities to even spawn vehicles. So ATVs will probably see a swell in numbers, which is to me a good thing. It allows for the transportation, but not necessarily the suit of armor that a car can deliver. And so we're working on making a pass to make sure that there are a fair amount of ATVs spread throughout the entirety of the map. So there's quite a few things, and obviously any time we go into doing work on the map, optimization is part of that process, where we can thin out a little bit of detail but not necessarily lose the look and feel that we're trying to achieve. We do that, or grouping, or anything we can do to improve performance. It's an ongoing effort. So all three of those things are taking place now. We've been working on that now for a little while, and as with scoring, everything's coming to a point. We're hoping to get season out to everybody once we're comfortable with everything that's been done.
Very cool.
And working as well on the spawns for season 2.
Yeah, the big part of that is the way that the system works. It kind of has a magnet field that draws people towards the circle placement. So we're relaxing how much pull, which allows the spread to go out a little bit more from that point. And so we're working on that. And similar, we run simulations and we can kind of see the result. And so we're just going through that process of fine-tuning it until it gets to a point that we're real happy with.
Very cool.
So yeah, we don't want 5 teams stacked landing on top of each other.
No.
There's got to be enough loot. I don't mind too in competing over a spot, but there needs to be enough resources there to at least allow that competition to happen once the teams do land. And in Z1, the resources can be a little bit more sparse. When one team lands first and grabs the 2 pistols that exist, it's going to be a short match.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah.
So we covered scoring changes. We covered balancing the Outbreak map. Talk to me a little bit about the new player amount adjustments as well as spawn select for each of the modes.
Yeah, so we adjusted a little bit off of what we've talked about last time. I still believe in these numbers. We're going to go with 100 on solos and 80 for duos and 75 for fives. And really that is to coincide with the size of the map and the resources available. Everything we were just talking about really plays into this. In addition, the benefit obviously is that we believe these will help speed up games and allow more games to be played, more opportunity for a good time for more people. So it's waiting isn't fun for anybody, and we think this is one step to help solve that, as well as proper for the balance of the map.
One thing to note for everyone in the chat is that all of these changes that we were talking about for Season 2 on PC will be coming to the test server before they ever come to the live server. So you will get a chance to get your hands on them then, try them out. There will be a survey involved. You'll get to try and get your hands on all of these bits and pieces and let us know your thoughts on them.
Yep, absolutely.
And as always, that survey on test is pretty much the most valuable piece of feedback we can get.
For
It's
sure.
the best way to comprehensively
Because it's
get
anonymous.
info from the entire community.
So that's
So that was player caps.
that's the player caps. Now for the spawn select part, while I enjoy the off, I do think there's an element of it needs to be there on Z1. However, I do think people should drop blind. So what I mean by that is allowing you to choose where, but not having any additional information given to you. You don't know where anybody else is at. You're not going to know where the gas ring is at.
So no heat map,
no
first
heat
gas
map,
ring. Okay.
no gas ring, and we're looking at doing that across all 3 modes. So spawn select will exist. However, it's going to be a little bit more of a blind drop. You're not going to know who else is in the area, nor will you know what the starting circle is. So
there you go.
Yeah,
Cool.
pretty straightforward.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is that, let me take a look here. So we talked about scoring. We talked about those meta changes.
Yep.
Bloop, boop, boop, boo. I didn't have a note for it on our list, but I don't know if you wanted to talk about some of the vehicle adjustments as well.
Yeah, we're going through that process for the PlayStation 4 and doing that. Kind of got a little bit more enlightenment on where vehicles are. And what we're talking about in particular is the fuel, both the consumption and the amount of fuel that a gas tank is holding. We are, while not going as drastic as we are with PS4 because matches are shorter on console, we are making some adjustments so that vehicles don't have 2 times the amount of gas that a match lasts. And that's what we're seeing right now. So you're going to see that drop down probably about 30%. From about 30, right now it's about 33 minutes total gas fuel, it's just normal driving. And we'll probably reduce that to about 17 to 20 once we finally tune it. And the idea is that cars get you to those final circles, but shouldn't be the winner of the final circle. Right. And trying to get people out on foot towards that end, and removing those body armors that people carry with them. So yeah, I think it'll be a good change. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, let us move on next to our next topic, which is the ranch rifle. I believe we have a video to show off of this as well if we want to see it in action. So for those of you who have had a chance to play with the ranch rifle before in arcade mode, some of this may be familiar to you, and we can talk a little bit about how the ranch rifle works, its damage, its drop, and all that sort of thing. So let's take a look at that.
Fire me over.
All right, we gotcha. Go ahead. Is it playing?
It's playing.
It's playing.
So ranch rifle.
Ooh.
Has some very interesting characteristics. Folks have had a chance.
We may not want you to talk over the
Too loud.
a little bit. Yeah. You can pause for a second if you want after this, but yeah.
Did we just rip ears?
A little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So ranch rifle is how I see it and how I'd like to see it in the ecology of the games is, and what's I think important is for players to understand it does not disrupt the balance or the hierarchy of the guns that exist now. This is more for a new player coming in to learn how guns work in H1. It's extremely different than other games. It's very difficult. And I find this to be a step to allow them to get their footing and to feel like they can accomplish at least engagement. But any experienced player that is capable of two-tapping is hands down going to still have that advantage.
Yeah, let's back up to the beginning of this video again, because I think one thing people didn't have a chance to realize is how much of an instant and sharp recoil there is, so that you cannot land.
It's impossible to two-tap.
The two-tap. So this is not a replacement for the AR by any means.
No.
This is not OP, like this is not above and beyond that. This is one of those like, okay, I need to take long distance shots, but I don't really know yet how to use the AR at long distance. Here's a scoped or unscoped weapon, so you can see that. So let's take a look at that again. Yes, this is for PC. So is this hipfire?
That's
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 hipfire.
hipfire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hipfire is right in line with the other rifles.
Mhm.
The other thing is the forced time on recoil.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Oh, that was a good pause right there. You can see how much right after that bullet it
it
jacked up
jumps.
to the left.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of that V, that
Yep.
upward V. So it knocks you up each time
Yep.
in that forced reset time.
So just to give folks a little bit of an idea, it's 30 per shot.
Mhm.
It's going to be 2 to the helmet and 6 to an armored.
Okay.
So, and then if it's a head body, no armor, you're talking about the 1 shot to the head and 4 to the body. So it's not a replacement. It's not. It slots into the hierarchy that exists without affecting the balance, and that's why I felt comfortable introducing it, and hopefully allowing some players again to get their footing under them before they just pick up an AR and kind of struggle, right? We don't want them to struggle their first match. We want them to be able to get into the game, find a little success, have a good time, and then hit that play again.
Mhm.
And so we think this only helps in that way without impacting negatively the existing ecology of weapons.
Mhm.
So
And so, like we mentioned, you'll be able to get your hands on this on the test server first, so you can see it for yourself, try it out for yourself, see the mechanics of it, the recoil of it, and let us know your thoughts in that survey.
Yep.
Great.
Cool.
Is that about it for the ranch rifle?
yeah, pretty
All
much.
right. Perfect. Do you want to just close out the video? How much was there left on that video?
He just shows, so I think at the end it goes and shows a couple of long range, but
Okay.
yeah. Now, before we switch, actually, there's one thing to this I would love to hear your guys' opinion on.
Sure.
While the ranch rifle is going in, there is an element to this that I think we are still internally discussing it and would love to hear what players have to say. Over-the-shoulder ADSing with the same magnification that the scope gives or going into a scoped view. We are playing around with the option of both. In addition to that, maybe even the M40 playing that way. That way it is more of a training wheel weapon, right? We have the AR, we have the AK, they're all about that third-person ADSing. So if we're able to do that with this and keep the magnification, then it truly is a training wheel weapon. It's allowing them to see a little bit more without necessarily being a different kind of experience on ADSing the weapon. So that's something we're still debating. And would love the feedback of the players on that.
So if you're an AR Slayer, you're not going backwards. But if you're a new
Correct.
player coming in, makes sense.
Yeah.
Very much so.
That's exactly right.
Cool.
So
All right, we're going to head on back to our topics bar here so that we can talk about our next topic, which is Revive
all
for
right.
duos and fives on PC.
Yeah, we're in the process of getting all the UI in place and everything because we definitely want to make sure the players are informed. That's going to be everything from downing an opponent to if somebody on your team is down, how you find them, right? Both the mini-map, having a little icon, as well as anything that we can do on screen that helps guide you to where your fallen friend is at, and then the whole process of picking people up. So it's a good system. As I've mentioned last time we discussed it, I believe it softens that rough spot at the beginning of a match of losing 1 or 2 people to, again, stacked people dropping on the same campsite. You lose somebody early, now you either back out of the match, which isn't good for anybody to lose 2 people out of the game. But it also stops those people from having to sit there and wait. So it's an opportunity, and that's all it is. And it didn't, and as data has shown, when we put it on the PC, it did not affect late game matches in a negative way where all of a sudden 50 people are in the final circle. It's not doing that. It's not affecting the overall flow of the balance other than just kind of smoothing out the first part.
Yeah, it really feels like the timing that you put on that mechanism has made it very difficult late game to take advantage of it. So it seems like much more of an early game play, roll up on a team, lose one guy, but chase them off.
Right, yeah, I mean,
Not
how else?
destroy your game.
Yeah, late game, you don't really get a whole lot of time to sit idle without somebody, be able to beam your head from distance. So it's harder to do later as the circle gets smaller, without question. And that is part of the balancing of it. How long it takes to revive somebody, all of those things have to be considered. So We're in the process of tightening that up and hoping to get that over to test with the ranch rifle and everything else real soon. So, yeah, it's good.
So one other thing of note before we head over to the PS4 update side of things, if you wanted to cover some of the jump updates that I know we've been talking about.
Yeah. All right. So here's what happened with that. I'm with you guys. It's not feeling how I want it to feel or how we want it to feel. There was an unintended part of the initial patch that went out that was, how can I best explain this? I'm just going to use, these values are not real, so don't hang your hat on them. This is just for explanation.
Yeah, imaginary explanation numbers.
If I run at a 3 speed, okay, but I strafe at 1, what's happening, or what was happening is during the strafe, if I jumped, it was increasing my speed to 3. So it made me feel like I leapt far, not just jumped, but really leaped one direction or another, and it actually increased the speed. That was unintentional. So that bug was fixed. In doing that, we now lose that feel of leaping out of the way or leaping back and having that little burst of speed applied. So now that the bug's fixed, we need to go back in and retune to deliver that experience, but properly and not be broken.
Got it.
So you guys are 100% spot on with it. Appreciate you guys identifying it. Now
yes,
we just
that
need
was a
to
very helpful video.
Yes.
I think Liam's actually in the chat. Yes, he was.
Yeah,
the one who
that was
sent me
awesome. That was very good. So it helped us identify what was going on and what that problem was of why we lost that feel. Now we just need to go back and kind of retune it to get that back. So.
And I really appreciate you using single digits
Yes.
for your metaphorical
For your
numbers,
metaphors, yes.
'cause it just, for some of us.
So yeah, that was unintended all the way around initially, as well as now where we sit now. We do want that reactive play. We do want that feeling of being able to jump out of the way or jump through a window and strafe to the side, and get the guy standing in the kitchen of the house or wherever he may be. So we'll get back to it. We'll get back to it.
All right, hold on a second. Just typing something out right here. So for those of you asking about, actually, one sec. Is there anything else that we need to share for the PC side of things in terms of Season 2?
Thinking
else?
that's it. We're figuring out the reward.
Yeah.
We've got some ideas, and we're discussing it, and hopefully be able to share that with folks very soon.
Hey, chat, give us your guesses, your thoughts on what that reward for the season is going to be. Let us know.
Can't
So, like I mentioned a bit earlier, all of the changes that we've mentioned, including the ranch rifle, revive, and all the other things we want to test out, will be coming to test servers before they come to live servers, so you get a chance to get your hands on them, try them out, and balance them. That will be coming to the test server next week is our hope to bring these to you so you can get those out before Season 2 comes to the live servers in July.
Yep.
So that is our plan for that. All right.
Very soon.
Very soon.
So, hold on a second. Let me switch on over and we can talk about some PS4 stuff.
Cue it up.
Yeah, here we go. Our next topic, we're going to be talking about some of the vehicle updates for PS4. So if you haven't had a chance to read Mike's note yet, that went out on Reddit, I believe a couple days ago, maybe on Monday, about wrangling the car rodeo and updating vehicles on PS4 so that they had an appropriate amount of gas so you didn't have quite so many vehicles at the end of the match.
So bad.
I will let you take it away from here.
All right. So 2 parts of this. Fuel capacity and fuel consumption is the first step that we took. And just to give you guys an idea, vehicles on the PS4 currently on live have roughly 33, 34 minutes of fuel, of normal drive time fuel. Matches are about 15 to 18 minutes, depending on. So obviously you have far more fuel than is necessary for cars, and I think that's a big contributor to why they're there at the end. So what we've done is we've cut that fuel essentially in half. So they're going to find that they are now sitting around 11, 12. It's a little bit more than that, 11 or 12 minutes. But there's still, with people not always driving 100% of the time, switching vehicles as they find them.
Lean in towards me a little bit more. You're leaning out of the camera. There we go.
I'm trying to hide.
Yeah, that's okay. No need to hide.
Head like that, you're going to shine wherever you are. Don't I know it?
And tall, too.
Yeah.
It doesn't help.
So glad I've got the most hair on the show.
Yeah. Small boys.
Mean.
Interrupted your train
Oh,
there.
that's
No, it's all good. So yeah, that the capacity is a big piece, and it won't hinder people from being able to get to those final circles. For us, vehicles should be in abundance up to about the 5th circle, and then start weaning the vehicles out of the game, either through explosions or just turning into rocks because they don't have any more fuel. So the whole exploding part, that's the resistances that we've played around with.
Yeah, and I think we've got a video to show off some of that.
We do. So this is not live. This is what is going in.
Right. Hold on a second and I will flip over. So this is the revised damage for vehicles. You can hit F11 to go full screen. Yeah. And we can watch.
You'll also notice there's a new vehicle HUD.
Yes.
That we're working on.
Cue me.
Go ahead. So not quite a full. He didn't quite hit all of the clip on that one.
And that's something to, yeah, it's hard to control.
Nope.
And that is part of the equation of balance. Is it's rare that someone hits every single shot. What we're doing is you're going to notice the changes for most weapons is now about 3 clips, but not 3 full clips. So you're going to have 2 reloads and some change in order to destroy a vehicle, right, with an AK or the other rifles. We have made some adjustments to the E-tip, so the explosive arrow. The explosive arrow actually was reduced in damage, so now it's taking more.
Yep.
Yeah, hold on, let me cut back to our topics right quick here while we queue up the video to show you the difference in the crossbow change.
Yeah. So while majority of things we reduced the overall damage necessary to destroy, there are some exceptions where, like the explosive arrows, they were a little too much. So we've actually brought them back into, I think, a little bit more stable area, shall we say, a little more fair.
See that UI again here.
Yeah. Someone's saying, kill credit to the player who got the knockdown. Yes, that is a change we're bringing to Revive for both PC and PS4.
Yes.
So that the player who does all the work to knock them down gets kill credit, and whoever finishes them off gets the
our
assist.
approach to this is, we're actually looking at doing an elimination, which is different from a combat assist, because we don't want to lose the combat assist. So, but yeah, that is absolutely happening.
3, and then it's on fire from there.
Right.
Did you want to talk a little bit about how there's a little bit of padding on the
protection
when it's on fire? Yes.
So something that's not really players that have been playing this game for a long time on PC have pretty much identified it at times. What happens with a vehicle once it gets down to that 20%? When your front of the car catches on fire, we actually have armor that's applied, or a protection. And what this is doing is allowing players to not get completely melted without an opportunity to escape the burning vehicle. So we've made adjustments to flatten that a little bit, and to coincide with all the damage resistance changes we've had. So that window of opportunity to get out of the car before it completely explodes is maintained, if not maybe extended by a hair. So that's always existed. It's not a new thing, but we did want to at least address that. We took that into consideration with all the other balances as well. So that's a good fix.
Very cool. All right, I'll head on back over to our topic bar. So we talked about fuel, we talked about damage resistance. Anything else to cover for vehicles before we show off our last little bit for PS4?
Vehicles. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something.
You have such extensive notes, I know.
Way too much. Let's see.
All right. So if not, I think the last thing we have to show off here for PS4 is for our PS4 fans who are also PC fans or have happened to see some of the stuff for PC, when Z1, the new Outbreak map, the remastered Z1, launched on PC, it came with 4 different like climate or lighting schemes that it rotates randomly each match through one of them. So we are bringing some of those similar lighting schemes over to PS4 as well. And if you didn't happen to see those pictures yet, we've got some pictures to show you of what those look like. And you can expect to see these. Our goal is to bring these to you with this week's update for PS4. So here's a look at Sunny and Dusky. And I believe that one's Foggy. So this one's a little bit more similar to what you currently have, the kind of gray look, but the Dusky and the Sunny are both new additions, so that you'll get to see those for this week's update.
Should be nice.
And those will randomly select.
Yeah, they rotate
Okay.
similar to what the PC players are getting now.
Cool.
I'm excited for it. I've enjoyed that change, even though it can be slight. It makes it nice and a little fresh when you get a new one after a run of the same. So, should be a good addition to the PC or PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to head on back to our camera bar right quick. So just for a quick recap of everything we talked about today, on the PC side of things, we talked about Season 2, upcoming meta changes and scoring changes going into that. We talked about how focusing on kills versus placement and not as hard on your average placement, your reliable placement. We talked about some of the player cap adjustments as well as spawn select adjustments and balancing Z1 in terms of spawns and loot before that comes out. All of those Season 2 changes along with the Ranch Rifle and Revive will be hitting the test server. Our goal is to bring that to you next week on the test server so you can try them all out, take the survey, let us know your thoughts on that before those come to the live server as part of Season 2 on PC. And then for PS4, we worked on some vehicle updates, making sure that there aren't quite so many vehicles late game anymore by changing both the amount of fuel in there as well as their damage resistance to certain types. And we showed off some of those lighting schemes that are coming to PS4 as well. Both the vehicle updates and the lighting stuff, those are both coming to PS4 this week as part of this week's update. So, yeah, that's
Cool.
about it.
Very cool.
That was a lot.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone in the chat, for joining us for another episode of Dev Digest. We will post up a little recap of this as well so you can see it on YouTube, and you can take a look at that. And in the meantime, have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.